Welcome to this special Ask the Expert edition of LeapTV, made possible by CodeShed Solutions, your #1 choice for scalable and simple web solutions. Coming up on LeapTV, my Skype interview with Grasshopper's Ambassador of Buzz, Jonathan Kay, where we're discussing the importance of creative branding and the value of being more human. And this week's performance tip, Batch Blue. I'm Isabelle Mercier, and this is the show that shows you that small, intentional, and consistent actions lead to massive results. I am super excited because I'm sitting here today with Jonathan Kay, which is an ambassador of Buzz at Grasshopper. Hello, Jonathan. Finally, we are speaking.
Hi, Isabel. I'm very happy to be here, especially having kind of discovered what you guys were doing beforehand. It's cool to get involved.
And thank you for your feedback. As you said earlier in this prep interview, you're saying that feedback is everything in moving forward, and same for us. And that's probably why we connected so well, right? So thank you for your feedback, and I'm sure that there's going to be lots to learn from our collaboration. For now, what I want you to share a little bit about what Grasshopper is and what you do as an ambassador of Buzz to our viewers.
Yeah, it's a really fair question. So very quickly, Grasshopper, we provide a virtual phone system. So if you have a small business, you don't want to put your 800, you don't want to put your cell phone number on your website. So you get an 800 or a local number that helps you sound a bit more professional and stay connected. We can talk more about that later if you want, but more onto kind of the tips for your audience, right?
Absolutely.
So Ambassador of Buzz, it's kind of a ridiculous title. I will admit that. But what's cool about Grasshopper, Isabel, is that we've grown so much via word of mouth. I would say 30–40% of our business comes from someone who heard about us via a friend, colleague, or a family member. So about 2.5 years ago, the founder brought me in to be ridiculous and crazy and energetic, and essentially take care of, community and press, PR and business development, and just essentially said, go out there and build as many relationships as you possibly can, meet as many people as you can, get so involved in the community, and let's see how we can use those relationships to just get people talking about us.
That's right.
And people talk about you, they go to your website, right? And that's how we make sales.
Absolutely. And one of the things, first of all, we found you because we were looking to possibly replace the tool that we're already using or the service that we're using. And we came across one of your videos, and it was very creative, and it really got us to, connect with you because you, like us, believe that promoting a brand is done by adding value and by promoting what you can do and helping small business owners, as opposed to always talking about what you do and what your services are and what your features are. And that's what really I wanted to talk with you today, because I think you guys do that very well.
Yeah, well I appreciate it. And it's so funny, right? Because before I started at the company, Isabel, we actually sent out newsletters to our customers, right? Which is such bullshit because you're essentially spamming your customers, right? You're sending them this absolutely boring, stale piece of information that is essentially spam. And these are people that are paying you money on a monthly basis in our instance, right? So it was so mind-boggling to me that this was how we chose to interact with our customers, right? And so the video I think you're talking about is called "Entrepreneurs Can Change the World," right?
That's right.
And it's a motivating video. It kind of, for me at least, it gives me like a little bit of goosebumps because it talks about this idea that, do you remember when you were a kid? And do you remember when you were a kid and you thought you could do absolutely anything? Well, you still can, right? And that's such an important thing for startups and entrepreneurs and anyone just trying to do something different to believe, because there's risk involved and you're taking a chance. And it's so important to believe in yourself. And so, in the beginning of 2009, we knew that this kind of recession had hit. And you have tons of intelligent, creative people who are losing their jobs. And now they're thinking, you know what? This idea that I've always had that I could never do because I need to feed my family, well, now I don't have a job, so now's the time I'm going to go and get after it, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of just saw this as a way that we could engage with our target audience.
And the beautiful thing about that is that's the word you said. You said engage, right? And engage on an emotional level. This is what I love about that video. And we'll have the link in the video here in Leap TV for people to be able to have a look at that video. But the whole thing around adding value and, having educational blogs and really helping. You're in the business of helping small business owners thrive through, helping them with their phone numbers, helping them with integrating a lot of their communications so that, one, they look a little bit bigger possibly than what they already are, right?
Yeah.
And it's the whole integration piece, but that's boring technology. We don't need to know that. And what I want to really communicate in this episode today is the importance of promoting what you do on an emotional level, because it's, if we compare what you do to a Tylenol, people don't, if the Tylenol was $100, they would still buy the Tylenol. Why? They don't, because it's not because they buy the actual pill, it's because they buy the relief of the pill. And that's what you and I do really well in each of our businesses. We provide so much content and added value and tips and helpful strategies for free to help our target audience. And that to me is something that I cannot voice out enough, because still a lot of small business owners are talking about what they do with the benefits and the features, and they concentrate on listing all of the features up front. It's important to list the features, but not go in as that. Would you agree?
Oh man, I completely agree. And you said something that I think is so funny, and I almost wish our one of our founders was here right now, because our service is such a boring technology.
That's right.
And the bottom line is like, outside of a handful of companies, everyone's thing is it's not unique.
Yeah.
Like you're not inventing a laptop, right? Like most people are not inventing groundbreaking technology. And so you need to constantly find a way to be interesting to people, right? And it can't be your product.
That's right. And to be memorable, and for people to come back for more. People don't come back for more reading features and benefits. People come back for more and get to trust you because of all the amazing tips that you constantly give and that you constantly share with your target audience. So that is something that I've said time and time again in many Leap TV episodes.
Right.
But having someone that does it well right now with me is great, because it's proof. And we're going to put a few different links below in the resource area below this video to ensure that people can have a look at your product and have a look at how you actually promote your product. Because a lot of people say, oh, I'm in a service industry, I gotta promote features, or same, I'm in a product industry, I really need to promote the product. Actually, yeah, you do, but not forefront, because people are just not connecting emotionally to a boring technology, right?
So yeah, it's crazy because it actually it's not just tips, and it doesn't have to stop at just providing content and helpful resources. I think you have to do that, Isabel, to even be in the game.
That's right.
But it's about what can you do for their businesses, right? Because you have to think about your service provider, your company, as almost being an incubator. If these companies do well, they're going to continue to use your product and service, right?
Absolutely.
Until they grow up out of it, which is a positive thing, right? But when these companies are doing poorly, this is when they start looking, okay, what don't I need? Where can I trim the fat, right? So on some level, you constantly want to be finding ways to help your businesses. So let me just give you a basic, very, very basic example, right? Between me and one of the founders of our company, David Hauser, we are constantly going to conferences and networking and meeting people, and we have tons of connections. So whenever we humanly see a possible link between two of our customers, we'll always connect them.
Nice.
So it was just dumb luck. We had a customer who tweeted that he just signed up for our service, and his Twitter name was Natural Running Store. So he had a store that sold all these types of different natural running shoes, which is this new kind of movement. And David, our founder, knew a customer, one of his friends, that was actually in process of developing like a kind of running shoe. And so we were able to simply connect these two people.
Yeah.
And now one is going to sell the product on the other site. And, they actually are in the same communities. And who knows what comes of it. But the point is that these people pay us $30 a month for a virtual phone system, and we made a connection for them that helps their business and has nothing to do with our product.
And what I love about that is it proves to me that you guys are paying attention, because branding, a lot of people actually still think that branding is all about a logo and a tagline, which, I mean, that to me is just ridiculous. And it's just the little cherry on the sundae, right? But
Right.
branding is about emotionally being connected, being attentive, and paying attention to your prospects, to your customers, to that. And as you just said, paying attention to what's going on Twitter or anywhere for that matter, between connecting and seeing opportunities to connect your clients. Do you have any other examples of what you do to pay attention?
Yeah, so this is actually like my favorite. You can probably see that I'm smiling because like this is my favorite example. This is like the reason I enjoy doing my job, to be completely honest with you. It's ways that you can find like win-win-win situations, right? So this is my favorite example. So part of my job requires me getting press and getting Grasshopper mentioned in the news. So I constantly am trying to create contacts in the press, right?
Yeah.
But there's a real problem with the press right now. 99 people call them a day, probably 80 to 100 people call them every day, and they say, hey, will you write about my company? Hey, will you write about my company? Hey, listen, I have groundbreaking new insert buzzword, will you write about my company? And so it's like these people end up, like these reporters end up becoming unhappy people, and they end up, like vomiting in their mouth every time someone calls because it's all so self-centered, right?
Yes.
It's all selfish. And so what I do is I break the curve. I learn as much as I can about the reporter before I call them or before I reach out to them. And I say, hey, I noticed you were working on X. I noticed in the past you've been recently writing about this trend. Listen, I would love to connect you to X business because I noticed that this is actually a productivity tool and you've been kind of interested in tools that help save your customers time. Is it okay if I make that connection? So let's just really quickly examine what I'm doing here. I'm taking a press contact, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying what everyone else does, okay? 2, I'm taking this contact who needs to find something to write about and needs inspiration.
That's right.
And I'm giving them something to write about. 3, it's relevant to what they're doing on. So I've done my research, and so it's relevant, right? So now this press contact is going to respond to me the next time I reach out to them because I'm different than the average person reaching out to them, right? But now I've connected them with a customer, okay? Again, a customer who pays us, $20, $30 a month for a virtual phone system, who probably doesn't even have an in the news section on their website.
Yeah.
I've now connected with someone who's going to get them a link back to their site and write about them and gives them a press article they can be proud of, right? So I've made my press contact stronger. I have a customer who's now a brand loyalist who's going to get my back on Twitter because I've given them a press mention and they're just paying us for a service. And meanwhile, I've now strengthened both relationships. And when I actually need to get my company written in the press, I have at least an ear that's ready to listen, right?
That's right. And you're creating trust on both sides. So it's like it's all about loyalty, it's all about relationship, and it's all about providing useful links and connection to your 360-degree who's connected with you, which is absolutely fantastic. That's fun. Thanks for sharing that with us, because I love to learn about, what other people do and how they actually take their branding from the inside out to a different level, right? So thanks for sharing that, Jonathan.
No, my pleasure. I think if you told most people that promoting their customers would legitimately be profitable for their business, they would probably give you a puzzled look, but hopefully we can change their minds.
That's right. One customer at a time. That's awesome.
I've thoroughly enjoyed my interview with you, Jonathan, and I know that it has provided value and insights for our viewers. Now, as a Leap of the Week, what I would like to ask of you Leapers is how can you educate more, better educate and better connect with your prospects and your clients? Basically, how can you be more human? This week's episode was made possible by our friends at Coach Shed Solutions. Ian and Dina, my dynamic duo I call them. They're truly the best at creating websites and helping you enhance your online presence, whether it's a small project or a big complicated project. They're really the best at online integration. So head on over to coachshed.net to find out how they can help you and your website.
As you know, Jonathan, we always end the show with either a performance tip or tool to challenge our leapers. And I'm actually dying to know what you have in store for us.
First off, I want to be a leaper. I just love how that sounds, okay?
You are a leaper.
I feel awesome about that. All right, I just need to get that out of the way. So my performance tip and tool for the week would be a tool called Batch Blue, okay? And so Batch Blue is essentially a social CRM tool, but it's not as much the tool as what you do with it, right? So if you were to ask my dad or someone older and old-fashioned, they would say, when you get a business card, you get a Rolodex, you write something down about that person and you put it in your Rolodex, right?
That's right.
And so what we do here, okay, is whenever a customer tweets about us or says something positive about us, we immediately take it off social media. Immediately. If someone says something, I would love 5 minutes later just to get on the phone with them.
Yes.
And just ask them about their journey. Learn a little bit about their story, because when you listen to someone's story, that relationship lasts months. When a tweet or a single email probably lasts about only a couple weeks, right? So the real tip is to go out there and to find the influential stakeholders and your brand loyalists and these people that are involved in your industry and your community. Get on the phone with them, learn their story, and make a contact, okay? And just write down a couple notes about them. Maybe they're an immigrant who came here and this is their first entrepreneurial venture. Maybe they're a green entrepreneur or a mother entrepreneur, or find out something unique about this person, something interesting. Maybe that their son loves wakeboard, right? And just write it down and create a contact for this person, and you'll eventually have this database of interesting things about the people that are important to your business.
That's right.
And it will make those ad hoc connections and those things that you can do to add value and exceed expectations so much easier, because you took the time to listen and you took the time to write it down. And the reason I recommend Batch Blue at all is it has a feature that allows you to very easily tag things and make it searchable. So I can search certain terms like woman entrepreneur or something and see all the customers I've talked to that fit into that category and what we talked about.
Nice. And two things I'm going to add to that. First of all, the importance of following up to begin with, right? I mean, I went to a BNI meeting one day, and which is a networking group here. I'm sure they exist in the States as well. I met a cleaner, and I told him specifically, you know what? I want to talk to you. I actually have a specific need for that. I gave him my business card and said, please follow up with me. Do you think he did?
Not by the look on your face.
That's right, exactly. Can you imagine when you actually physically demand for someone to get back to you and they don't? To me, that's sitting on a little bit of a gold mine. And we are all, this is what I want leapers to realize, is that we are all sitting on a gold mine. And most of it, why it's just we're sitting on it, is because we're not connecting enough and we're not following up enough. And especially when it's the contact or the prospect is hot, there is no excuse good enough in my book to not do that. So I want to know from you, where can we find, is that an online service, and where can we find that tool?
Yeah, Batch Blue. If you go to batchblue.com or you Google Batch Blue, they're actually the people that founded the Small Business Web, which is this whole API integration platform. So there's a bunch of cool things going on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is something I did not know about, which is always a plus, because I'm a little bit of a geek and a techie.
Bonus point.
That's right. Bonus point for sure. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure to have you on LeapTV. I hope that we're going to have the opportunity to do this again. Yeah. And final thoughts, and just also share with our leapers where we can reach you and the address of your service.
Yeah, so I guess my final thought would be very simple, guys. Just be more human, Just be more human. There's a huge, a lot of the social media has made it so much easier for you to not be human. By now taking the step to be human and writing handwritten notes and doing some old-fashioned things, it really makes a difference in people's day and makes you more enjoyable to work with than the other guy.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about,
Well
It's really simple. In terms of Grasshopper, you just want to go to grasshopper.com and check it out. My personal email is jkay@grasshopper.com. I don't remember the last email I haven't responded to. So if you have any questions about virtual phone systems or anything around word of mouth marketing, it's certainly a passion of mine. So I'd be happy to chat it up.
Well, thanks a lot, and I am sure that we will have you on LeapTV again. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's it for this week's show. Remember that everything you've learned here today will do absolutely zip for you, unless, of course, you implement it. So take action on what you've learned here today, and remember that it's much easier to do it than to dwell on it. I'm Isabelle Mercier, and you can connect with me via Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Join me again for other great branding lessons and must-know winning strategies to help you perform like never before. See you next time.
Thank you.